Yo, it's Ringo TV. We back again with another one. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You already done know what it is. Let's get to the content. I want to talk about this particular topic, guys. Top of the morning. Going to get this thing started right. Break this thing down. If you don't catch the live, you just catch the replay. It's the beautiful thing about social media, that even if you're busy, you could always capture the replay. So guys, what I want to talk about is where does Nolan Wells' mother come from? Like, where does she come from? That's what I want to talk about. Because it's something that I think a lot of people may not even understand, and I want to break it down so that the viewers can pretty much know what's going on. Now, let me lay down a couple of ground rules before we begin. Number one, welcome to the show. What I'm trying to find out in this particular situation is why is it that Black people, they're so invested in the Nolan Wells situation? And I think it's because in their mind, psychologically, they believe that Nolan Wells is like them. But the truth of the matter is he's not. Now, if you represent the flag that we're going to be discussing in this live stream, this video has nothing to do with you. So please don't waste your time being offended with me. I'm tired of people being offended with me. You guys just get offended for anything. You understand? What I'm trying to establish here is truth. And I noticed that on YouTube, there is a movement from a cult called FBA. They claim to be foundational Black Americans, and they're going hard in the paint for Nolan Wells. But what if I were to tell you that Nolan Wells don't even consider himself African American? Oh, you don't believe me? You see, according to this, it's to identify what we're trying to get into here. Because if I can show you this as a Black man, as a Black woman, maybe, just maybe, you might wake up and understand that I've been right the whole time, that Black folk are always getting played. This flag represents the Republic of the Philippines, right? So now you may be asking, well, what does that have to do with anything, Ringo? We still rock with Nolan. You know what I'm saying? He's one of our brothers. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Okay, take a look at this. This is Nolan Wells' social media. Do you see that? That's Nolan Wells' social media. Do you see the flag? Oh, you didn't know that, right? See, Nolan Wells don't consider himself a so-called African American. No, he don't even consider himself to be a Black man. See, in your mind, you think because someone has skin that is melanated, you believe that, oh, they're just like me. Oh, no. Sad. Sorry I had to burst your bubble. I know that you're mad. I know you wish you can comment. The only people allowed in my live chat are members. That's it. If you're not a member of the platform, you don't have a voice. Only members can participate in my live chat. So if there are no members here during this live, no one will be in the live chat to comment. Isn't that wonderful? Because we're not going to have trolls bombarding my platform with a bunch of garbage. Keep things clean. So let's get back into the content. So Nolan Wells, on his own social media platform, don't consider himself to be a so-called black man, because he's not. Do you understand me? Nolan is Filipino. Do you understand? Now, why am I bringing all of this up? Does this have anything to do with me not liking Filipino? Because I already done know how you folks are, man. You folks find anything I say is a problem. Anything I say, you say, oh, I'm hating this, I'm hating that, I'm this, I'm that. I'm establishing truth. Because a lot of these foundational black Americans, they're going around social media saying that, Nolan's black mother, she's this, she's that. Nolan's a black man. I just can't believe these whiteys people did this to him. And there's no suspects of anybody that been arrested. They're just accusing white people of unaliving Nolan when there are no facts to substantiate these claims. What I'm trying to focus on here is how black Americans have this predispensation against white people, these insecurities, this victimhood mentality. And whenever they see anybody that looks melanated, they automatically say, oh, those are my people, and we need to fight against the white man, not realizing that Nolan is Filipino. And once people from the black community understand that, now they're going to switch up. Because in their mind, if they understand that Nolan is Filipino, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I thought he was one of us. Oh, no, he's not. Like I told you before, you're getting played. Now, this has nothing to do with Filipino people or anybody from the Philippines. Has nothing to do with you. What this have to do with is a group of people who turned this into a race issue, who hired a civil rights attorney for a Filipino. You guys are getting played all day, bro. Oh, you don't believe me? Oh, there's more. Let's get to it. There is more. Let's take a look at this, guys. Oh, yeah. Check this out, gang. Memorial celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Christine Wells Wonsley. Look who we got here. Look who we got here. Now, again, on social media, right? All of the black folk, all of the grifters, all of the platforms that are grifting off of the death of Nolan Wells, they're talking about his black mother. Nolan was a good old black kid, African American. They took out one of our brothers. Really? Again, what we're establishing here is truth, not fiction. Who is Nolan Wells' mother? And is the outrage black Americans have for Nolan Wells sincere from the heart, or is it because they believe he's a so-called black man? And how would you feel to know that Nolan is actually Filipino? And all this time, you were going in defending him against the whitey man, remember? So if black Americans are going to go hard in the paint for Nolan Wells, you should go hard in the paint for anyone who is from the Philippines, right? That means you shouldn't discriminate. So if black Americans want justice for Nolan Wells, you should want justice for all Filipinos. And again, for the court of public opinion, Nolan Wells' social media page, he has a flag. Anytime you go to anybody's page, their flag represents their heritage. Nolan Wells did not put up a so-called American flag. He did not say, hey, I'm an African American. No, he's saying, hey, I represent the Philippines. That's who I represent. And I'm not surprised, because if he truly believed what he is, he's going to represent that. But what I'm trying to focus on is the fact that Black Americans who come from the cult called FBA, they're going hard in the paint in regards to this situation. And they don't even know that they're fighting for a Filipino. So I'm trying to figure out, those of you that are part of the FBA cult, according to what you guys teach from your cult, anyone from the Philippines or anyone outside of African Americans, you consider them tethers. So, did you know that Nolan Wells is Filipino? Did you know that? Because this knowledge is here because of my research. No other YouTuber is talking about this but me. None of you do research like me. I go and I actually find information. And what I've discovered is shocking. Now, again, this video stream has nothing against anyone who is from the Philippines or Filipino or any of that. This is to establish truth of the origin and heritage of the one you are defending. Because in America, Black Americans never, ever fight against black on black crime. The only time they fight or they protest is when they feel a white man done something to a black man. So with this knowledge of Nolan Wells being Filipino, now, will the black community continually stand with Nolan Wells? Now that you know he don't represent you. He don't. And this mainly goes out to the FBA community, who love to call everybody tethers. Nolan Wells have his Filipino flag on his page. Do you see that? That's the flag that he got on his page, guys. Check it out. Clear as day. You see that? You see that? That's what Nolan Wells represent. And there's nothing wrong with representing your heritage. My point is, Nolan Wells don't consider himself an African American, a black man. He don't. He considered himself to be from the Philippines, guys. Do you understand that? Or are you going to continually hate me because I'm smart and I bring out the truth? Right? So now, let's get more information to establish our points. Make sure you hit the like button as you come in. The only people allowed in my live chat are members. So if you want to join the conversation and have a decent conversation like a civilized human being, join the channel membership. You will have privileges to be in the live chat. If not, then hey, just sit there in the clouds. All right. So now, let's see what we got. Let's put this on the screen. This is Nolan's mother. Now, how did we get to this conclusion? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Let's show you this. Right here, I'm using ChatGPT. I said to ChatGPT, what is the nationality of Nolan Wells' mother? In other words, where is she from? Right? Now watch how ChatGPT acts like it don't know nothing, right? Watch this. So ChatGPT responds and says, Nolan Wells' mother is Christine Wells Wonsley. Now, this opens another can of worms, guys, because this could suggest that she was previously married before, and Mr. Wonsley can be Nolan's stepfather. Uh-oh. So we're going to talk about that in a few. So it goes on and it says Nolan Wells' mother is Christine Wells Wonsley. Based on the credible public information available, she appears to be an American and from Mississippi. See, that is kind of vague. It don't really answer my question, because nowadays anybody can act like they're a so-called African American. Anybody could be American. You could come from anywhere in the world and get citizenship and be called an American. It doesn't answer the question. So it says an American and from Mississippi, specifically connected to the Ocean Spring Gulf Coast area. She works there as a family nurse practitioner, and a former classmate said they attended high school together. Let's see what else we got. So it goes on and it says, I found no credible source stating that she is from another country or identifying her as Haitian, Jamaican, African, or any other foreign nationality. Her profile lists English as her language and Ocean Springs, Mississippi as her location, but they do not publish her birthplace or ancestry. Now, do you see, guys, how ChatGPT is not answering my question, basically hiding the truth? So it goes on and it says, so the responsible answer is she is American and appears to be from Mississippi. Her specific ethnic ancestry or family, country, or origin has not been publicly verified. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up that ChatGPT is full of shit. You know why? Because watch what I do. Watch this, guys. Let me show you how you are more intelligent than ChatGPT. Watch this. Notice what I did here. Notice this. Look what I did. Notice I have an image. Remember, guys, I post an image of Nolan Wells' social media, which shows the Philippines flag. You see that? Now watch this, guys. I go and I post the image and I tell ChatGPT, based on my personal research, it's clear she is from the Republic of the Philippines. I have proof directly from her son's social media page. Here is an image of his page showing the Republic of the Philippines flag. People normally post the flag they represent on their page to let people know where their family heritage is from. Look at the image and you will see the small flag. Do you see that? Now watch how ChatGPT switch up and give me details about the very same woman that they said have no information about her heritage or where she come from. Watch this. This is ChatGPT answering now. Look what ChatGPT says, guys. You're right that the small emoji in Nolan's biography is the flag of the Philippines, and it strongly suggests that he was publicly acknowledging his Filipino family heritage. Do you see that? Do you see that, guys? Come on. I know you mad, right? I know. I know you mad. You're mad because I'm smart and I'm intelligent and I do my research. I'm not like these YouTubers that are fake grifting. What are they going to say now? What are they going to say now? What lie are they going to come up with? What new video are they going to say? Because the majority of Black Americans are riding with Nolan because they think that Nolan is one of them. That's what you believe. And see, on Ringo TV, we fight for justice for all people, no matter where they're from. What we're trying to establish here is the fact that Black Americans are not fighting for Nolan because he's Filipino. They're fighting because they believe he's a so-called African American. That's why. That's why they're riding with him. They're not riding with him because he's Filipino. They don't know that. They're knowing it now because I'm bringing out the information. Now, let's get back to this. So it says, you're right that the small emoji on Nolan's biography is the flag of the Philippines, and it strongly suggests that he was publicly acknowledging his Filipino family heritage. It goes on and it says also, now notice how ChatGPT is now spilling the beans about the mom. When it just told me that it don't got no information. Look at this. Let me scroll back. Watch this. Watch this. Right? Shout out to who's this in the building? Ham. I can't see the whole name. I can't see the whole name. I'm just gonna say 5391. Shout out to you. Good morning. Appreciate you joining the show. But notice this, guys. ChatGPT, before I brought out that info, it says, I found no reliable source stating that she is from another country or identifying as Haitian, Jamaican, African, or any other foreign nationality. Her profile lists English as her language and Ocean Springs, Mississippi as her location, but they do not publish her birthplace or ancestry. Do you see that? You see that? But once I provided information like this, all of a sudden now, ChatGPT want to spill the beans. And it goes on and it says this, guys. I also found direct confirmation from a much stronger source. Memorial Health System profile his mother, Christine Wells Wonsley, as Asian American. I never get the credit for my work that I do. Nobody on YouTube is talking about this but Ringo TV. Now, let's break it down. I also found direct confirmation from a much stronger source. Memorial Health System profile his mother, Christine Wells Wonsley, for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. In that profile, she discussed her Filipino American heritage. Do you get that? Do you get that? Based on the facts, she's Filipino. And her son, Nolan Wells, also identify as Filipino. But do the black community know that? Are they fighting for Nolan because they love Filipino people? Or are they fighting for Nolan because they believe he's a so-called African American? Which one? Which one? Because I see people on YouTube going around saying that Christine Wonsley is a so-called black woman, African American, and how they killed her African American son. But based on my research and information, they're Filipino. Right? So now it goes on and it says, for her Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. In that profile, she discussed her Filipino American heritage, cooking traditional Filipino food, learning, what's this? I think that's the language. Tagalog. I'm not sure. I think that's a language, right? And having family ties to the Philippines. Do you see that? Do you see that? So it is perfectly safe to say that Nolan is Filipino and his mother is Filipino, right? Because it clearly states that she represents her Filipino American heritage, cooking traditional Filipino food, learning Tagalog, and having family ties to the Philippines, right? Now, let's see if we can let this thing scroll. It says hold on. Let me do this. Okay. I'm trying to do something here. Give me a minute, guys. Says the most accurate way to state this is Nolan Wells' mother is Filipino American and has family roots in the Philippines. That is slightly different from saying she is from the Republic of the Philippines. It's just trying to make things sound politically correct, right? Because I have not found proof that she herself was born there. She may have been born in the United States. See, ChatGPT don't even know what it's saying, because we already got the answer of what we want to find. But I got something even more interesting, guys. Something more interesting. You ready for that? Are you ready? Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. Let's go. Now, this is from the memorial. It says, celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Christine Wells Wonsley. Right? Now, for her name to say Christine Wells, comma, Wonsley, this can imply that she was previously married and she's holding on the name Wells because her son is Nolan Wells. How come the son isn't Nolan Wonsley? Come on. Come on. Why? Why Nolan don't have the name of the man who claimed he's the father? Come on now. Answer those questions, guys. That man right there, they're going around saying that he's the father. Well, how do we know that? How do we know he the father when Nolan don't even carry his last name? Do you know how disrespectful it is to have a son named Nolan Wells and the man claiming to be his father, he don't have the same name like you? Does that make sense? Sounds like stepdaddy material to me. When you look at that man and you look at Nolan, I don't see that man as his father. They don't look the same, guys. That's a stepdaddy. When you look at Nolan's mom, clearly she is not a so-called black woman, African American, if that makes sense. She's not. She is not, guys. But the black community has labeled this family as a so-called African American black family, and how she is a black woman and we need to ride for our sister. But Nolan Wells don't identify as a so-called African American because based on his social media, he has the Filipino flag. Again, why would the so-called African American black community be going so hard in the paint for Nolan Wells, but they not going hard in the paint for actual African Americans who've been unalive? I told you guys about another story of a brother named Akin. I think it's called Liverpool Pool, I believe the name is. And he drowned and died the same exact way like Nolan Wells. And he's a so-called black man who was celebrating his birthday, and he was surrounded by his black friends. And nobody from the so-called African American community has come forward to make videos about that case. It's like they ignore it. But this case with Nolan Wells is getting massive headlines because he's Filipino, guys. That's why. And the black community is getting ripped. Their pockets is getting ripped because everybody is jumping on board because they believe Nolan Wells is an African American. That's why. And if you see his profile, he have the Filipino flag. Why? Because his mom is Filipino. Do you see that, guys? All I'm doing is breaking this thing down. Look how tall he is in comparison to his father, or alleged father, because that man is not his father, in my opinion. No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. We're being played. Well, not we're, because I'm not being played. I already told you guys the truth. In my opinion, that man is his stepdaddy, gang. Stepdaddy. He looks nothing like that man. Don't have the same facial features. Don't have nothing. You understand? Nothing. He don't even have the man's last name, gang. He don't even have the man's last name. Nothing. Check it out, fam. Check it out. Nolan Xavier Wells, parents of Christine and Elmore Wonsley. How come Nolan don't have the name Wonsley? How come? If that's his biological son, why he don't have his last name? Guys, I'm seeing stepdaddy situations here. But of course, everybody gets mad with Ringo TV because once I start bringing out this truth, you folks are going to try to twist everything around into something else that it's not. The black community is going hard in the paint for this Nolan Wells case because they think he's a so-called black man. But he's Filipino. He's Filipino, guys. Nolan Wells is Filipino. That man is not his father, in my opinion. In my opinion. This looked like a case of stepdaddy. This looked like a case of a Filipino woman who got with a black guy, but always had interest in black men because on this website called Memorial, let me go back there, guys. It says celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Christine Wells Mosley. You see that? Now let's go. Let's look at more of this, guys. Check it out. Check it out. Boom. You see that? Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. She's not celebrating Black History Month. See, to all you FBA idiots out there who love to push that FBA garbage, I don't see Christine celebrating Black History Month. No, she's celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. But this is the woman you going hard for. That's the woman you fighting for. Right? That's the woman you guys gave $700,000 to because you thought she was a so-called African-American woman. No, she's not. She's Filipino. And there's nothing wrong with you if you're Filipino. There's nothing wrong with you if you're Asian American, Pacific Islander. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we're focusing on here is truth. To find out why is it that the black community is going so hard for Nolan Wells. It's because they believe that Nolan is one of them. If the black community know that Nolan Wells is Filipino, they're not fighting for him. Because again, the people that are fighting or I guess grifting and standing or defending Nolan, it's because they don't like white people. Remember, they're accusing white people of harming blacks. Now watch this, gang. Why would Ben Crump be hired, a civil rights attorney, hired for a Filipino? Make that make sense. Make it make sense. I want to know. I want to know. Why would they hire Ben Crump to come out to grift, because he's a race hustler, civil rights attorney for a Filipino woman, and Nolan Wells, who is also Filipino? What does civil rights have to do with their situation? Because they're trying to paint them like African American in order to get the African American community to apply pressure to generate a race war. Y'all all been played. Bunch of suckers. And this happens because you don't do your research. And yet you got these YouTubers talking crap about me. I'm the smartest. I'm the one who go do the work, and I don't get no credit or love or support for bringing out this truth. Because people hate black men like myself that are intelligent. This woman is Asian American, Pacific Islander, and she's celebrating that Heritage Month. Now, let's go. You see her wearing that she is so-called in that particular practice. Notice, Christine Wells Wonsley. Right? And look what it says. Memorial is celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month by spotlighting members of our team who are committed to improving the health and wellness of our community. We hope you enjoy learning about them. It goes on and it says this, guys. Christine is a nurse practitioner who specializes in primary care at Memorial's Ocean Springs Primary Care and Multi-Specialty Physician Clinic. Her nominator shared the following. She lives and breathes Memorial's mission. She brags on Memorial on a regular basis and makes it public. She truly cares about this health system and taking care of her community. Recently, Christine made a post that was related to anxiety and depression. She expressed how important it is to speak to a healthcare provider who cares. That our society tries to belittle depression. Belittle and act as if mental health issues aren't really a thing. She said that depression and anxiety are real. She backed up her point by sharing the S-word phone number as well as her clinic number, telling friends and family that mental health is just as important as physical health. Now, I want you guys to think about this and consider this. Could it be possible that Nolan Wells had mental health issues? Could it be possible that he struggled? Could it be possible that he may have taken his own life? That's why she cared so much about these issues. Let's get back to the content, because I'm telling you, they're going to hate me because of the truth that I'm bringing out. So now it goes on. She said that depression and anxiety are real. She backed up her point by sharing that S-word phone call number as well as her clinic number, telling friends and family that mental health is just as important as physical health. I like to think she shared this information because she sees many people struggling these days, and she wants to help them gain the light back at the end of their tunnel. That is the type of person she is. She truly cares and wants people to be healthy and happy. Guys, I'm telling you, based on my findings, it appears as if though Nolan Wells may have suffered from these conditions. And this is why this was dear to her heart. Do you understand me? We're going to get back to more of this. Let me let it scroll, and we're going to move forward. So now it goes on into saying the following. Check it out. Learning resilience. It says on how her heritage has shaped her. Now watch this, guys. We're talking about the heritage of Nolan Wells' mother, because what we're trying to find out is she a so-called African-American woman or someone else. On how her heritage has shaped her. Christine shared, my heritage, notice, quote, my heritage has shaped me to be resilient in all aspects of my life. At a very young age, I remember my mother's amazing work ethic, but also how kind she was to others and her devotion to her family. She would often share the struggles she and her family endured while she was living. living in the Philippines. Do you see that? But also how important it was to always put your best foot forward and never give up. She is the main reason I am the person I am today. She truly instilled the values of what it means to be Filipino. Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see it? Nolan Wells' mother is Filipino. She's not a so-called African-American woman. She's not a black woman. No, she might have, I guess, melanated skin or whatever the case is with her son and X, Y, and Z, but she's not a so-called African-American. She could get citizenship. Anybody could do that. But let's not go around calling people things that they're not. That's why we're doing research, right? And see, all of the people that's riding for Nolan Wells, once they learn about this information, they're going to switch topics. They're going to go talk about something else. Because now, based on what we're seeing, the black community is fighting for justice for Filipinos. So what I'm trying to figure out now is, can the black community band together to get justice for all Filipinos that are dying and set up GoFundMes for all of them through social media and raise money for them? Or will you disregard doing that because they're Filipino? I'm crushing you right now. Right now, they mad as hell right now. You know why? Because I got them. All of this is selective outrage. The only reason why they're going so hard, guys, is because they believe that Nolan Wells is a so-called African-American kid, but he's not. He's Filipino. He's Filipino, guys. Again, it goes on, and she says she also would often share the struggles she and her family endured while she was still living in the Philippines, but also how important it was to always put your best foot forward and never give up. She is the main reason I am the person I am today. She truly instilled the values of what it means to be a Filipino, not what it means to be African American. Did you get that? She didn't say what it means to be African American, what it means to be a black woman. No, she never said that. She said what it means to be Filipino. That is her nationality, guys, which is being family orientated, positive, adaptable, hardworking, disciplined, fun, loving, and always having faith in God. So as you can see, based on the facts, not gossip, not hearsay, not conjecture, rumors, none of that mess. Based on the facts, his own mother considered herself to be Filipino. Do you understand, guys? So watch this, gang. Watch this as it fast forward. We're going to let it play. So it goes on and it says, continuing traditions. What kind of traditions? Our tradition, one tradition Christine practices is visiting family. Visiting family in the Philippines. Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get that? One of the traditions that she keep is visiting family in the Philippines. Again, nothing wrong if you're a Filipino. Nothing wrong if you're from the Philippines. Nothing wrong with none of that. What we're establishing is the fact that so-called black folk all over social media, they don't know that Nolan Wells' mother is Filipino. They don't even know that Nolan Well is Filipino. They don't even know that. They believe he's a so-called African American. That's why they're going so hard. That's why they have all this selective outrage. Once they find out that he's Filipino, all of that stuff goes out the window. After they find out he's Filipino and his mother's Filipino, all of that outrage goes out the window, because now what this would suggest is that African Americans rock with Filipinos and want justice for them. Once the so-called black man, black woman realize that they're Filipino, all of a sudden, all that fake love that they expressing, it goes out the window. Because the only reason why they're doing that is because they believe that white people killed Nolan Wells. But once they find out that Nolan Wells is Filipino and his mother is Filipino, all of that goes out the window. Because now there's no reason to fight. Now, how do they have a leg to stand on? Because they're only doing it because they figure an African American man was killed by a so-called white mob of guys. But now everything switched up because he's Filipino. Now, let's get back to the content. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. Stop hating this truth and hit that like button. Nobody's breaking this down but me. Nobody else. So it goes on and it says, one tradition Christine practiced is visiting family in the Philippines every 2 to 3 years. She added, my second favorite tradition is starting my Christmas celebration much earlier than most. In the Philippines, the Christmas celebration starts in September and ends in December. This is referred to as Burr months. Notice this, guys. She's practicing her Philippine traditions of celebrating Christmas in September. Do so-called African Americans, so-called black men and women in America, do you do that? I just want to know, because y'all going hard in the paint. Y'all mad at me because I speak the truth. But did you know that the mother of Nolan Wells, she's Filipino? She's Filipino. And so is Nolan Wells. And that man that claimed he's the father, based on the research, it is alleged that that's a stepdaddy. So where's his real father? Where's the real father at, gang? Because based on the information, Nolan don't even have the father's name. We already talked about that, guys. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Where it's at. I think this is it. No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Notice that. Nolan Xavier Wells. Notice that. His parents are Christine and Elmore Wonsley. How come Nolan is not named Nolan Xavier Wonsley like his father, if that is his father? Why he don't got the name? That's not his father, fam. I'm sorry. That's not his father. They look totally different. It's not his father, fam. Nope. Nope. Sorry. Try again, guys. That's not the father. You see this? They want you to believe that that man is the biological father. I don't know who that man is, but I know they getting paid because you folks gave that family. Let me see if I can pull up the GoFundMe. Let me see if I can pull it up. Because you guys love making everybody rich. Meaning the wrong people. So let's go to the GoFundMe so we can see how much money you guys been pouring into this family. Because you guys just love getting played and y'all keep getting mad at me for bringing out this truth. And I'm here to tell you that you've been lied to and manipulated by Ben Crump and all of these race hustlers all over social media that have been lying to you. They've been lying to you guys for a long time. And I'm here to debunk all the lies and expose the devil. You understand? They're out here grifting and race hustling for money. Look what's going on. Because here's the thing, fam. You can hate me all you want. But one thing you can never say is that I'm lying. They told you all over social media that Tyler Perry is paying for the funeral and the memorial services. It's documented on social media that Tyler Perry is paying for this. Let me get the receipts. Is Tyler Perry paying for Nolan Wells' funeral? Let's see what we get. Says yes. Let's put this out there. Okay. Let's put this out here. Because we also have more information that we want to show you. Because somebody brought up Colin Kaepernick, and I was wondering why they brung him up in my chat. And I went and looked it up, and they said that he was paying for an autopsy. So I'm like, listen, so all these celebrities and people, they're all paying for different things, but yet that family pretty much got a GoFundMe for 600 and something thousand, wanting 750,000, and y'all giving them that? Y'all tripping, fam. Y'all tripping. Watch this. Let's put this on the screen. Let's also get this information here. Let's put this on the screen. Then we're going to cook. We're going to cook, do our job. Because ain't nobody breaking this thing down like Ringo TV. Nobody. That's why all these YouTubers is jealous of me, because I'm so good at what I do and they can't refute the things that I say. Now, let's look at the facts. Who is paying for Nolan Wells' autopsy? Former NFL quarterback and civil rights activist Colin Kaepernick is paying for the independent autopsy of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Now think about this, guys. All these celebrities are jumping on board this grift. It says, yes, Tyler Perry is paying for the funeral expenses of Nolan Wells. You see that? Then it goes on and talks about Brian Allen, that billionaire dude, the media mogul. He donated $100,000 to the GoFundMe. You got Al Sharpton and Ben Crump, all the race hustlers jumping on board. But yet we got a GoFundMe here where the family is asking for $750,000. Well, if Tyler Perry paying for the funeral, if Colin Kaepernick is paying for the autopsy, then please explain to me, gang, why they need this GoFundMe. Explain that to me. Because they're robbing you by proxy of your emotions, by making you believe that Nolan Wells is a so-called African American that was affected by white supremacy, when you don't even realize that Nolan Wells is a Filipino who happened to love hanging around white friends. He ain't have black friends. He had white friends. And if he hanged around any black buddies, it was small and few. Majority of every photo and every video where Nolan Wells was in, he was surrounded by white guys. You understand? To the point that even on his social medias, on his own social medias, guys, Nolan Wells represented himself as Filipino. You see the flag? Filipino. That is what he represented. He did not represent himself as so-called African American. You guys got played. You guys got played, and the media is playing you, and they're making you get in your emotions so that all that money can come out your pocket. I had to go do the research myself because I wanted to know the truth of who is Nolan Wells. Who is he? What's really going on? You see, I had to go find his social medias and look at the flag. Why would you put a Filipino flag if you're a so-called African American? You see that? Come on now. Come on. It's because he's representing his heritage. You understand? Who's his real father? What's really going on? Why are they hiding all this information from the public? Got y'all all emotionally invested, and they lied to y'all the whole time. Did they ever come out in the public and said a Filipino young man got unalive? No, they identify him as a so-called black man like he's an African American, and he's not. He's Filipino. This is how they get you, man. They grift and they get you all emotional, and then they got all these YouTubers lying to y'all all day. You see that? That's most likely his stepdaddy. And now you got Ben Crump in there, a civil rights attorney, fighting, watch this, fighting for a Filipino, guys. You see that? Ben Crump is a grifter, a race hustler. First of all, what is Ben Crump's nationality? Do anybody know? What is Ben Crump's nationality? Because I tell you, man, anybody could get in the business of civil rights. Anybody can get in this business and start robbing people. You see? So, that being said, let's get back to the content. Make sure you hit that like button because I know y'all hating the truth. You got 267 people, only 95 likes. You know why? Because you mad. And this is the sad thing about people, fam. You could be a black man speaking the untold truth, raw, and they just don't support you. Why? Because you're speaking fire about this situation. Nolan Wells' mother is Filipino. She's not a so-called African-American woman. Let's stop spreading lies. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Those of you from the FBA community, you're full of crap because you're going around talking about you're defending a sister, a black woman, one of your people, but she's celebrating Asian heritage, right? That's what she's celebrating. She's not celebrating your plight. She's not. But she's using civil rights attorneys and made it a race issue. Man, y'all getting played. Y'all getting played. She got y'all all gassed up, making y'all believe that she's a so-called African American. She's benefiting off of the plight of the struggle of the so-called black man, black woman. And y'all got played. And y'all got played so bad that they were able to raise all this money off the backs of black people. And look at Byron Allen. Look at him. You would think that a billionaire, a guy with all this money, would donate $100,000 anonymously. But no, not Byron Allen. He got to make the world see that he gave money, gang. Byron got to make the world see that. Top donation. He could have did that anonymously. But no, everybody's cashing in off of Nolan's death. With all the money Byron Allen got, he could have donated that anonymously and kept it moving. But no, he wanted the world to see that he got money and he's the big dog. You see that? And look at what the family achieved. I want to know from all you so-called black folk, I want you to know all this money, this family is using for personal use. Because Tyler Perry paying for or paid already for the funeral. Tyler Perry. Colin Kaepernick paid for the independent autopsy. Do you know how much money was already paid out to this family? And on top of that, to add insult to injury, they raised literally $700,000. You folks are getting played every day. Y'all gave Carmelo Anthony $700,000, and his family didn't even hire a proper attorney. And his ASS got 35 years in prison for murder because he's a killer. And in this case, there are no suspects that have been arrested, right? It says that his death showed no signs of foul play. Okay, so why they hiring Ben Crump? And why they marching Why they doing all this protesting? Why they doing all this foolishness to start a race war? Imagine this. You guys gave this family $700,000. And their son is dead. They're exploiting Nolan for money. This family is doing interviews everywhere, making money. Do you guys not know that when they do these interviews, they get paid for that? You think this family just go out of their schedule to do interviews for free? No. Interviews cost money. They're literally charging for these interviews. So on the back end, they're making money. They're making money. Look at how tall Nolan is compared to that man. Come on now. That's not his pops, y'all. Y'all got played, fam. He don't even have the name of the father. That's what some old situation of a stepdaddy do when he marries the mother. But he out here gaslighting the people and acting like one thing, but it's not the case. Y'all getting played, bro. Played for suckers. And yet you got all these social media folks mad at me because I'm speaking this truth. Right? So it goes on and it says, shining a light on her heritage. Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month means that I am to shine a spotlight on heritage, and hopefully others will want to learn more about my culture. Did you get that? Did you get that? Did you get it? My culture. Wow. Her culture. She don't represent your culture. I tell you, black folk get played every time. She's representing her culture. And nothing wrong with representing your culture if you're Filipino or from the Philippines or have family ties to the Philippines. Nothing wrong with representing your culture. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to lie. We're not going to lie and identify Nolan Wells and his mom as so-called African American. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to identify her as who she is. And the media need to say who she is. Filipino mother lost her Filipino son who died while hanging out with white friends because they painted it as a so-called black issue. They didn't put Filipino. Nope. They didn't want to do that because it wouldn't sell. It wouldn't sell. The race card couldn't be used, guys. They couldn't use the race card if they identify her as Filipino. No. So it goes on and it says, Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month means that I am able to shine a spotlight on heritage, and hopefully others will want to learn more about my culture and how unique it is in its own right. Wow. Especially with all that is going on in the world today, it is important that others broaden their understanding while showing mutual respect for others, said Christine. So Christine identifies herself, guys, as Filipino from the Philippines, guys. I'm telling you, man, I don't know why people hate me so much, bro. And all I do is speak the truth. Ain't nobody on YouTube breaking this down but me, fam. Early in the morning breaking this thing down. Y'all can't even hit the like button. You got literally almost 300 people watching. I only got 110 likes. So y'all don't like the truth? Okay, cool. Cool. I know you angry, fam. So stay angry. Because I want you to know who you representing. So while you going hard in the paint for Nolan Wells, calling him African American, he is Filipino. And his mother is too. And she's telling you right here. So it goes on, and she want you to understand her culture, so that you can have mutual respect for others. And I have mutual respect for everybody. No matter what their ethnicity is, I have respect for everybody. Doesn't matter where you're from. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to lie. We're not going to identify Christine and Nolan Wells as African American when they're not. We're not going to do that, guys. Let's not lie to generate emotional support from African Americans. We're not going to do that. The Filipino community should be banding together for Nolan Wells like never before. The Filipino community. But that's not happening. Why is that? Because the media painted this thing as an African-American youth was unalive while hanging around with black, so-called white friends. That's how they painted this thing. So it goes on and it says, to honor her heritage, Christine enjoys cooking traditional Filipino dishes. And she is learning Tagalog, the official language. See, I knew it. I knew it was a language. I think it's called Tagalog, the official language of the Philippines. She added, I have enjoyed sharing a little about my heritage with you all, and I hope that you will take some time to learn about my cultures outside of your own. What? But also be respectful of the customs and traditions. You should never stop learning about the world around you. Wow. Notice this, guys. I want you to see how Christine don't see herself as an African American woman. She don't. She's telling you to your face, bro. This is wild, fam. Look at what she said. She said, if you go back down to the bottom, she says, she added, I have enjoyed sharing a little about my heritage with you all and hope that you will take some time to learn about other cultures outside of your own. So in her mind, her culture is different from yours as a so-called African American. You see that? She's telling you in your face. And again, nothing wrong if you're a Filipino and you have Philippine traditions or whatever your situations is. That's your personal business. So stop getting offended every time I speak. Learn how to understand context, because I know a lot of you folks that are viewing may have Asian descent, Pacific Islander descent, or whatever the case is. Stop coming to my live chat in your damn feelings, because I don't got no time for all of that mess. I don't got time to keep explaining myself to adults that should be listening to the context of my message. What we're trying to establish is the fact that so-called African Americans are going around identifying Nolan Wells and his mother as so-called African American. And they're not. They're not. They're Filipino. That's what we're establishing here. Truth, not lies. Right? Let's see what else we got. Let me see if I can let this thing scroll. So it goes on and says, thank you for the hard work and dedication you provide to our patients and community, Christine. So that's them pretty much thanking her for, the things that she do. But I wanted you guys to see this, that this is who she really is. You understand? She is not a so-called African American woman. She's not, guys. We got to be about truth. And I got to keep on repeating myself. If you're a Filipino from the Philippines, we're not saying something's wrong with you. We're not here to discriminate against you. So please save all of that nonsense, please. I don't got no time for all this dumb stuff, fam. Please pay attention to the context of my videos. What we're establishing is the fact that Black Americans, so-called African Americans, are going around all over YouTube and they are claiming that this woman and her son are so-called African Americans. This is what they are doing. Do you understand? They're the ones publishing this. You understand? This woman and her fam hired Ben Crump, who is a civil rights attorney. What does civil rights have to do with this case? The only reason why Ben Crump is there, because Ben Crump and everybody that's involved look at her and Nolan as a so-called African American, when Nolan Wells himself identifies as Filipino. On his own social media, he have the Philippine flag representing his culture. And this is why Nolan Wells hanged around predominantly white folk. He did not hang around you Negroes. He did not. He hanged around white folk way more than his so-called black friends. Why? Because he was more comfortable with them. And now that he's gone, the black community wants to blame white people for this, right? They want white heads to roll for Nolan's death. But once they find out that they've been fighting for a Filipino, I want to see, are they going to keep that same energy? I want to know, will the black community keep the same energy for Nolan Wells now that you know he's Filipino? Are you going to still walk around saying he's my people? Are you still going to say that, oh, Nolan is FBA? Because Nolan, based on the FBA standard, Nolan Wells is not FBA. Nolan Wells will be considered a tether, because this is what these so-called FBA cult members do. If you're not associated with their cult, what they do is they call you a tether. That's what they love to do. They love calling people that are black tethers if they don't identify with FBA. They do this all the time, guys. So let's see what else we got. And salute to everybody coming in the building. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, right? Let me see. You says they mad, Ringo. Hell no. She said that, and black people is supporting her family. That's the thing that's bugging me, gang, is that black folks are blindly, listen, black folk blindly supports everybody but their own people. Black folk will give everybody else millions of dollars, and they're not even so-called African American. This is why I laugh at all these YouTubers, how hard they grinding and going in. They're just grifting. They already know. They probably know. Well, then again, they probably don't. But I'm the only one on YouTube right now making the world know that Nolan Wells' mother is Filipino. Nolan is Filipino. You understand? They're not so-called African Americans. So while you see this so-called black man, where is that? Where is that? So when you see this, right, you think, oh, this is an African American family, black woman, black man, black son, and you think, no. You understand? No. We got to go back to origin and nationality. Based on my research and what I'm looking at, this dude, matter of fact, if I'm correct, I got to go do a little more digging, but it appears that I believe Mr. What's his name again? What's this guy's last name? The world's his last name. I gotta find this mess. Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the lies, bro. I'm tired of all of these lies where everybody just keep manipulating people into believing lies. Mr. Wonsley, I'm not sure, but I believe he played football or something along them lines. I'm not sure, but or was in the league or something like that. I know I came across some sort of info or whatever the case is and whatnot. At the same time, when you look at Nolan and you look at that man, you don't see no father in him. You don't see nothing. He's taller, lighter, totally different. You understand? And he don't have the same name. Nolan Wells has another last name. Y'all better wake up. Y'all better wake up. Stop being mad at me and recognize the real. You see? Better recognize the real. So when you look back at this, the mother is Filipino, guys. Filipino. Filipino. She's not a so-called African-American woman. Can we speak the truth without lying? And why is it that because I'm speaking the truth, some of y'all would come in here and be like, oh, why are you hating? Or why you got a problem with your people? And like, what? First of all, I'm not Philippine. I'm not Filipino. So when you say my people, I think you got things twisted up. You guys are associating this woman and her son as African-American when they're not. They're not, guys. So what are you going to say now? What are you going to say now that you learn that Nolan Wells' mother is not an African-American? She's not. She's not, guys. And think about this. She's a so-called medical professional. So she's doing that and collecting $700,000 GoFundMes. Wow. You guys are getting played, bro. I didn't know it was this easy to hustle black people, fam. That's why I always say, always go to the GoFundMes and see who's hustling the most. Who's hustling the most, man? And you'll find everything you need. You know? It's sad, bro. So sad. Notice, following their 18-year-old son's tragic and mysterious death on July 4th boating trip with Mississippi Horn Island, they have been highly vocal. And now, guys, wow. Are you ready, guys? I got something to show you. I didn't plan on doing this, but I figure I might as well I do. Let me see. Give me a minute, gang. Make sure you hit that like button one time. Let me see if I can pull this up, this receipt, so we can break this thing down. Now, how many of you know that Nolan Wells been on that island many times? How many of you knew that? Nolan Wells been on that island many times, but the family made it seem like this is just some mysterious death. Like they don't even know nothing about that island and they don't know why and they just don't know. What would you say if I have the proof to prove my point? Would you agree with me? Or will you just continually hate? Let's see if we can pull this up. Let's get this content on the screen and break this thing down. It's about 1 minute. Let's break this thing down, fam. Because, you know, I'm always speaking the truth. These folks always mad because I'm able to break down and decipher the truth. Right? So let's do this. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let's get the volume ready. Boom, boom. Let's do this. Notice they keep pointing parents of Nolan Wells breaks their silence. All of this stuff is to continually rage bait the people. That's what they love to do, guys. Rage bait. Get you emotionally invested. Right? Okay. Watch this, guys. Pay attention. Listen to the content. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's go.
Nolan traveled to Horn Island with. They say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always say safety is in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Safety is in numbers, he said. Safety is in numbers. So in his mind, him being around a bunch of white boys, right? Safety is in numbers. So what he's suggesting is that he should have been around black folk. Well, if there's safety in numbers, Nolan was around safety because he was around his friends. Just because they're white doesn't mean he wasn't safe. Do you see the contradictions? Let's go.
And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been
Listen.
unusual for him to split from the group. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year,
Since last year, what?
He's been going there.
He's been going there. Since last year, Nolan Wells been going to the very same island, gang. You guys are always getting played by these grifters. Nolan Wells been going to that very same island with his white boy friends, and he never had no problems before. So why are people trying to turn this into a race war? Why are black folk trying to make white people take the blame for Nolan's death when the mother just said that her son went to that very same island many times with his friends, gang? Listen at the tape, guys. Listen at the tape. Listen.
When he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends.
He's been going there occasionally with his friends, and you folks feel sorry for this kid when his own mother said that he'd been going to that very same island with them same friends. Wow. This is sad, man. I do the best breakdowns on social media. Nobody do better content than me, fam. Look at what I'm bringing out, guys. What YouTuber is showing you this? What YouTuber is showing you these kind of receipts where the mother said that Nolan went to that island with those friends, with them boats, many times? So all the other times he came back home. So if his white boy friends wanted to kill him, they would have killed him a long time ago. But now, because he dead, she went and hired Ben Crump. And she's Filipino now, but she's using, watch this, civil rights attorneys to turn this into a race issue, trying to hang around and make it look like she's an African-American woman and her African-American son was murdered, and it most likely was a white person, even though she know that her boy been hanging with this group for a long time. You gonna tell me she don't know that all her son's friends is white? She know that already. This mother already knew that Nolan had white friends. Grew up with white friends. She knew. Them friends had to come to the house. But all of a sudden, because he dead, now we're seeing how she's trying to flip the script now and try to get the black community to jump on board. And you folks, you Negroes, jumped on board this program. And now it comes out that the mother is Filipino and the son is Filipino. So this whole time, the black community been riding with, supporting, and giving all their money to a Filipino woman and a Filipino young man. Because you thought they were African American. But now the tables turn. Now I want to know, will the black community continue to support Nolan Wells, knowing that he's Filipino and his mother is Filipino, and focus on her own culture, right? She ain't celebrating no black culture. She ain't celebrating no African-American culture. But yet she's using your plight of what the so-called black man and black woman been through in America, and look at what it did for her, gang. Look at what this did for her. Watch this. This is what it gave her, fam. $666,000, gang. She's using the black plight of racism, right? All this mess. She's using it as a Filipino woman. She's using your plight, and she was able to get reparations. Wow. Where you going? She got reparations. Imagine that, $750,000 GoFundMe. Plus Tyler Perry paid for her funeral, for the son funeral. Plus, watch this, plus Colin Kaepernick paid for the so-called, what you call that thing? Autopsy. Look at the facts on the screen, gang. I'm not lying. Look at that. Look at the receipts. Colin Kaepernick is paying for the independent autopsy of Nolan Wells. Tyler Perry paying for the funeral. So if all these big willies is paying for all this stuff, why the family got a GoFundMe up for? Because they hustling you. They're hustling the black community. They're hustling the African American community. Hustling you with rage bait. You understand? Putting a bunch of crisis actors together to make us become emotional, and they're cashing out off of the backs of blacks to the point where you got black Hebrew Israelites in the streets marching, talking about Nolan Wells, he Filipino, Nolan Wells, his mama Filipino. They're not African Americans, because you know good and well those black Hebrew Israelites, they don't care about nobody else but themselves. But if they knew that Nolan Wells and his mama was Filipino, they would not be out there marching. But they're doing it because they think that they're African American. I'm telling you, so-called black Americans always getting played, fam. Y'all get played all the time because y'all too damn emotional. Too emotional. Nobody is doing content like this. I should have 100,000 views on this video. But guess what? Because people don't hit the like button, people don't support the shows, we can't grow. Because you're not supporting the work. Why? Because you trying to suppress the efforts of Ringo TV. Nobody's breaking this down. Hey, yo, Red Supreme, you're a grifter, right? You're from the FBA community, right? Okay, Nolan Wells is Filipino. His mama is Filipino. They represent the Philippines. So, my question to you now, is Nolan Wells FBA? He's not FBA, but you riding for him. So how you gonna explain to your viewers that this whole time you riding for Nolan Wells, you was riding for a so-called tether, as you would say? And his family is using the plight of black people to enrich themselves with a civil rights attorney and receive over $750,000 support from Colin Kaepernick, support from Tyler Perry, support from Brian Allen, and you so-called FBA group can't even get reparations. Man, they ripping your pockets. Y'all getting played. What a shame. What a shame that the black community cannot see this grift. How they just came in and gave us this nonsense, fam. But yet, we got all these stories about black men and women being unalive, and nobody's talking about it. I told you guys the other day, you had a black man named Akin, I believe it's Akin Liverpool or something like that. This brother died the same exact way like Nolan Wells. It's the same story. Just that all his friends that was on the boat, they were all black. All of them. He was celebrating a birthday. And they said that he was drinking and somehow he was dancing at the edge of the boat. And for some reason, he must have fell over. And get this, nobody saw him fall over. Didn't they say the same thing with Nolan Wells? They was like, so hold up, all these friends there, nobody didn't see him fall over? Nobody rescued him? Well, in the case of brother Akin, nobody saw him, including his family and his friends. Nobody saw him fall overboard. but he's dead all right, and they had to go recover the body. And that's exactly how Nolan Wells died. He was drinking, he was out there, he was hanging out, celebrating the 4th of July. What do you think people do on the 4th of July? What do you think young teenagers are doing on the 4th of July if they're all on boats at an island? They're drinking, they're smoking, and they're getting it in with girls. You gonna tell me Nolan wasn't out there drinking? He wasn't smoking, he wasn't doing nothing? He was most likely high as hell, and he fell off that boat and he drowned. Do you understand me? But the black community is trying to blame it on white people, as they always do. Trying to blame the white man for all your problems. But did you know that Nolan Wells is Filipino? So I'm trying to figure this out for the life of me. I want to know, do the black community support, defend all Filipinos? Everyone from the Philippines. Do black Americans, the so-called African Americans, do you guys support Filipino people? To the point that if any of them die mysteriously, that you're willing to set up GoFundMes for all of them to make them rich. Because I know you don't. You don't care. The only reason why the black community is riding with this Nolan Wells situation, because y'all thought he was African American. Y'all really thought that. Y'all got played and they got paid. That's sad. And again, like I said before, I got to keep saying this. Nothing wrong with you if you're Filipino, if you're from the Philippines. There's nothing wrong with that. This is not about something being wrong with you. This is about the black community using Nolan Wells as a punching bag to get back at white supremacy. In their mind, they're trying to paint Nolan Wells as an African American who was a victim of systemic racism or some sort of white supremacy, or the white supremacist was able to unalive him, not realizing that nobody was there. Nobody unalived this man. This man was in a freak accident, just like brother Ken, the other brother who drowned. Same exact story. Same exact story. This kid is smart enough. He's a young man. He's supposed to make decisions. You gonna tell me he didn't know what he was doing? He knew exactly what he was doing. And he got unalived because he unalived himself, man. And I'm tired of the black community blaming everybody else but themselves for their own issues. That's the problem with the black community. They won't hold themselves accountable. This mother is Filipino, guys. Filipino. Let's stop calling her African American. Let's stop it. Let's stop. Stop calling somebody African American when they're not. Look at what it says, gang. Look at what it says about her so-called culture. It says, learning resilience. One, on how my heritage has shaped her. Christine shares, my heritage has shaped me to be resilient in all aspects of life. At a very young age, I remember my mother's amazing work ethic, but also how kind she was to others and her devotion to her family. She would often share the struggles she and her family endured while she was living in the Philippines, but also how important it was to always put your best foot forward and never give up. She is the main reason I am the person I am today. She truly instilled the values of what it means to be Filipino, which is being family-orientated, positive, adaptable, hardworking, disciplined, fun, loving, and always having a faith in God. Well, that could be applied to anybody, not just Filipino. You get what I'm saying? That could be applied to anybody. That doesn't make you that because you're Filipino. Anybody could be family orientated, positive, adaptable, hardworking, disciplined, fun, and loving, and having a faith in God. Anybody can have that. But she's talking about her Filipino culture, guys. Do you understand? Her culture. She celebrates Christmas from September to December, guys. That's what she do. So-called African Americans don't do that. So I want you guys to know the truth, man. The truth. That's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the truth. And a lot of people keep getting mad, dog. They keep getting mad. This family robbed y'all, man. They're grifting, just like the grifters all over social media, the race hustlers, all of them, all these YouTube channels that keep talking about Nolan Wells. And here's another thing, fam, that you guys got to be aware of. They keep coming up with updates every day. The new update, Nolan Wells. Here's an update. This update will floor you. We got a brand new update of Nolan Wells that never been seen. All they doing is clickbaiting you every day. Nobody been arrested in the Nolan Wells case. You got a lot of people grifting, making up news stories, fake videos, and they're constantly selling you a dream. And all of this is being done after the Carmelo Anthony drama where the black community was siding with a killer. And you gave Carmelo's family $700,000 on the GoFundMe. You guys gave him all that money and he still went to prison for 35 years. That means y'all wasted over literally $1 million on a dumb kid who made a dumb decision, and he's going to spend 35 years in prison. All that money went into the family's pockets, and they're going to use it to pay off their houses, their cars, and everything else. What a shame. What a shame how easy it is for black folk to get emotional and get played every single time. How sad that this family can go up on front of the public with Ben Crump with his damn rusty, wrinkled tie and would come out and gaslight people. This woman been seen on videos smiling and laughing, and you would think that, wow, I thought you supposed to be mourning the loss of your son. But she's busy laughing and giggling and smiling. And then she's doing all the talking while this Negro just sits there and just kind of just soaks up everything. They're smiling and they're happy. They got over $1 million off this case. Imagine your son die and you pimping your son's death for money. That's exactly what that family is doing, fam. And they should be arrested for it. They should be in prison for grifting the community. You know? Just look at them. Just look at this, fam. For all you know, they set him up. For all you know, they may have poisoned him. And knew he was going on the trip and knew it was a time-release drug. Remember, she's a medical person, man. Remember that, gang. She's a medical person, fam. Ain't no telling what she could have did to that kid, bro. Just to get the money, bro. This is crazy, man. Absolutely crazy, fam. But anyway, y'all, we're going to pretty much wrap it up. It is what it is. I gave you guys the truth. I got more content coming up. We got to break down all these videos because people are lying out here. And I want to see, fam, will the black community speak on this situation? Of course not. Because they're going to hide the fact that Nolan is Filipino and his mother is Filipino. So they're going to hide that information. They don't want nobody to know that. They want you to continue to believe a lie. You know, that's why I do my content, so I can wake the people up. Because people are always getting played, you know? So if you're new to the platform, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my uploads or when I go live. I'm the most thorough in these YouTube streets when it comes to this content. Nobody's breaking this stuff down. Nobody. Watch the video from the beginning. Hear the conclusion of the matter. If you watch only 2 minutes, you ain't get no information. This video is literally 1 hour and 38 minutes. That's a lot of information that I'm pouring out. Half of y'all never even make it to the middle of the video. Y'all only view a few seconds, a few minutes, and then you out. So you never really got the message. You never got the information. Right? That's why it pays to pay attention. So gang, I'm going to get up on out of here. Peace and blessings to everybody that joined the show. We're going to keep you guys informed on what's going on. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep you updated. Not with no fake updates, but with real updates so that we could teach the people of what's going on. There's a lot of fake outrage. Everybody's acting fake, fam. Just a bunch of fake people acting like they care about Nolan Wells. None of y'all care about Nolan Wells. You don't even care about your own immediate family, fam. Your family contact you for help, you ignore them, and they're alive. Nolan is dead, and his family is exploiting his death for personal gain. Make it make sense, fam. Make it make sense. Make it make sense that a family is exploiting their son's death. Do this young man even have any brothers or siblings or anything? Is it just them? Like, come on now. Is it just him? Do he have other brothers, sisters? Like, I don't know. But this is sad, man. So I'm gonna get up on out of here, man. I'm gonna get up on out of here, do what I gotta do. So y'all rate, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. If you appreciate the work that I'm doing, you gotta let me know in the comments. And we'll catch you later on with another video. So rate, comment, and subscribe, guys. Ringo TV Reactions. We salute you. It is what it is, guys. Yeah. We keep it 100%, fam. That's right. Make sure you click the like button. Ringo TV Reaction, the #1 reactionary channel on YouTube since 2006. Subscribe today and click that notification bell now. I'll catch you in the next video. Ringo TV. I'm out. Peace.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $Ringo TV Raw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/Ringo TV Raw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at Ringo TV Raw.
This is Ringo TV Reactions, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth 100% raw and uncut. I'm out. Peace.